In other news, British MPs are expected to announce their decision tonight on whether to expand airstrikes against Islamic State targets in Syria.
UK Prime Minister David Cameron wants MPs to vote in favour of the action, saying the terrorist group is a threat to British security. But bombing IS targets in Syria is opposed by opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn and a number of MPs.
RAF jets on standby. They've already been carrying out operations against Islamic State targets in Iraq for months. MPs will vote tonight on whether the UK will join the US, France, Russia and others in bombing IS operations in Syria. Prime Minister David Cameron says it is the right thing to do to keep Britain safe.
Let me be clear from the outset. This is not about whether we want to fight terrorism, it's about how best we do that. I respect that governments of all political colours in this country have had to fight terrorism and have had to take the people with them as they do so. And I respect people who come to a different view from the government and the one I'll set out today, and those who vote accordingly.
Do not bomb! Do not bomb! Do not... Anti-war protesters have been out in force, saying civilians in Syria will die if the strikes go ahead. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn is opposed to the action, but has given his MPs a free vote.
Whether it's a lack of strategy worth the name, the absence of credible ground troops, the missing diplomatic plan for a Syrian settlement, the failure to address the impact of the terrorist threat, or the refugee crisis and civilian casualties, it's becoming increasingly clear that the Prime Minister's proposals for military action simply do not stack up.
Those for the military action say it will protect the UK against Paris-style attacks. This Metropolitan Police training video shows officers preparing for such an incident. Analysts say public opinion since Paris has moved in favour of action.
There's been a slight shift towards supporting British action in Syria, but it's true to say that in the same way that MPs are very divided on whether to support it or not, so are the British public.
David Cameron says political and humanitarian efforts will also be part of a package to help Syria. If the vote goes in David Cameron's favour, then British military action against Islamic State targets in Syria could take place within hours. Despite the huge divisions over this issue, there is agreement on all sides, though, that those airstrikes by the UK alone will not be enough to defeat Islamic State. Dan Whitehead, SABC News, Westminster, London.